My name is Blake, and welcome to The Bar. In this channel, we take a look at some of Magic's most powerful cards by looking at banned and restricted cards and use it as inspiration for making cocktails. In today's video, we're going to make a color-changing cocktail inspired by the Plain of Kaladesh. We're going to use Pea Flower Gin as a base spirit, and once you add acid to that, the drink will change colors. In this video specifically, we're going to use the banned card Paradox Engine as inspiration for this drink. Similar to the card, the cocktail is going to be flashy, it's unfair how good it tastes, and once you get rolling, you're not going to be able to stop drinking it. So in this video, I'll first walk you through the history of the card, why it got banned, and how we're going to incorporate those elements into the drink. Then I'll show you how to make each of the ingredients, and finally, we'll put the drink together, taste it, and I'll give you my thoughts. So with that in mind, here's the Paradox Engine, and let's go make some magic at the bar. Paradox Engine was printed in January of 2017 in the set Aether Revolt and got banned in the Commander format in July of 2019. So it was around for about 2.5 years, and it definitely made a big impact on the format. Now, how do we turn this card into a cocktail? I took inspiration from 3 key things. First, the story behind why the card got banned. Secondly, just the name itself. And lastly, the lore and the story behind the set of Kaladesh where this card exists. So first and foremost, the story behind why the card got banned. Let's read the card. Paradox Engine reads 5 mana for a legendary artifact, and whenever you cast a spell, untap all non-land permanents you control. Now this got banned for a reason very unique to most other Magic cards. Usually a card is too powerful or too strong or combos too easily with 1 or 2 other cards. This card is unique in that Wizards has printed cards that are much stronger than this, and it's just simply not a fun card to play against. The way it plays out is you establish a bunch of cards that allow you to accrue resources when you tap them, and then every time you cast a spell, you're untapping all of your cards, which lets you tap them for more mana and tap them for ways to dig deeper into your deck. So quite often, you would see people take 20 or 30-minute turns and not even be able to win the game. In fact, if you search YouTube for Paradox Engine, one of the first videos that comes up is 1 hour of Paradox Engine combo gameplay to fall asleep to. So given that Commander is a social format and it encourages people to have a sense of time equity where, you know, each player gets to play about the same amount of Magic, Paradox Engine just heavily skewed the game towards an unfun environment, and for that reason it got banned. Now, how do we incorporate that story into a cocktail? If you play Magic on Arena, you'll know that once your turn goes on for a long enough amount of time, you'll see a timer come up on the bottom of the screen, and it'll begin to burn out as you run out of time for your turn. So because turns with Paradox Engine took so long, I decided to use Rosemary as a garnish, which will represent the timer. And then we're going to do a burnt rosemary garnish, essentially representing how long that turn takes. We've also made a rosemary simple syrup to help tie that garnish and that aroma into the cocktail itself. So the next thing we took inspiration from was the name, Paradox Engine. How do we incorporate those 2 simple words into a cocktail? Well, the easiest thing is just the word engine, right? An easy play on the word gin. And so we've made a Pea Flower Infused Gin here as the base spirit. Now, how to incorporate the word paradox? Well, pea flower is a very cool tea. It changes colors when it interacts with acid, so it's a pH indicator. And so the only way I could think of making a paradox within a cocktail is essentially a cocktail that is 2 colors at once. It contradicts itself. So Pea Flower Infused Gin for Paradox Engine. The last element that I took inspiration from is the story of Kaladesh and the role that Aether plays on that plane. So baked into the fabric of the cosmos on Kaladesh is something called Aether. It is what mages cast spells from, it's how you summon creatures, and in fact it is something that was able to be captured from the air and the environment and distilled down into a liquid, which was used to power all of the artifacts. Now, I love the plane of Kaladesh. It's got a steampunk aura to it. The basis for all of it is this substance called Aether. And so what we've done is made a super concentrated lime juice. It's the same acids that are present in lime juice, but at a much higher concentration. So when we add just a little bit of Aether to our cocktail, it will change the Pea Flower Gin from this deep bluish purple to a much brighter reddish pink. So with that in mind, let's walk through how to make each of the ingredients that goes into the drink.
The first ingredient I'll walk you through how to make is the Rosemary simple syrup. I like to do this as a gum syrup, which just means 2 parts sugar to 1 part water, and then we're gonna bruise some rosemary before tossing it into the pot. We will let that simmer for 5 to 10 minutes to let the rosemary infuse, and then I pull out 1 small piece of rosemary, toss it in the jar, and strain out the rest of the rosemary. Let that cool down before placing in the fridge, and there you have your rosemary simple syrup. Next is our Pea Flower Infused Gin. The pea flower does not add a ton of flavor to the gin, except for maybe a little bit of florality. Most gins already have some floral notes, so any changes to the flavor are minimal and pleasant. We'll start by measuring 1 gram of whole pea flowers and add it to a mortar and pestle. We'll give it a bit of a crush to increase the surface area and then add it to a jar. We'll then add 250 grams of gin and let that sit to infuse. At minimum, let it infuse for a few hours, but you can also let that infuse overnight. You'll be left with a deep bluish purple gin. After it's done infusing, take a fresh jar and a cheesecloth and strain out the tea from the gin, and you'll be left with a Pea Flower Infused Gin. Lastly, we're going to make the ether. This is what will change the Pea Flower Gin from a bluish purple to a reddish pink. To do so, we will just need filtered water, citric acid, and malic acid. I weigh out 66 grams of filtered water, 8 grams of citric acid, and 4 grams of malic acid, and gently shake it in a jar to dissolve. This will have essentially triple the acidity of normal lime juice. I take this step because in earlier iterations of the cocktail, adding in normal lime juice to make the drink made it a little cloudy and changed the volume of the drink too much. So by concentrating this liquid down, the color change really looks like magic. Finally, I purchased small 10 milliliter vials, and we're gonna put in 8 milliliters of our concentrate into each. This is the equivalence of about 24 milliliters of lime juice, or right around 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice in our final cocktail.
And now the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's make Paradox Engine. Normally for an elderflower gin cocktail, I would suggest shaking the drink, but I want to make this a pretty clear cocktail. I don't want cloudiness in the drink, so we are going to stir it. Start with our elderflower gin. I'm going to be making 2 cocktails. If you're only making 1, have these ingredients. But I want to make 2 cocktails so you can see the difference in color before and after we mix in the Aether. So we're going to do 4 ounces of Pea Flower Infused Gin. I absolutely love the color on this. We're going to use 1 ounce of our rosemary simple syrup. And then 1 ounce of Elderflower Liqueur. And then let's add our ice, and we want to dilute this down quite a bit. The Aether is meant to represent the lime juice in an elderflower cocktail, but we have it super concentrated. So we want to add a good amount of dilution here in order to make sure that it's not too sour. So we'll give this a stir for 30 seconds. Now let's add our clear ice to our glasses. And here's our cocktail, which you can see is a deep purple. And we'll split it in between the two glasses. Now we're going to add our rosemary garnish to the cocktail. I'll add our straw. And finally, let's add the Aether to the drink. A little bit of a stir. And this can be done tableside. And as you can see, this drink is a completely different color to this one. Now let's give it a taste. Oh. That is still so much better than I thought it would be. Holy cow, that rosemary really comes through. Oh. That's a really nice drink. And I love how clear and bright that drink is. Since we didn't use lime juice, we just used the acid-adjusted water. It's super clear, it tastes delicious, and I think it does a really good job of representing the Card Paradox engine. So with that, I hope you try it at home. Let me know your thoughts, and as always, I'll leave a simplified recipe in the description. Anyways, cheers, and hope you have a good one.